There's always something. That was me. First show, there's always something. Thank you, Ops Chief. Thank you, Ops Chief. I would repeat all that over, but all I'll say is
It,
hi. Yes.
I mean, it's been what, a crazy week, and
Yes.
we haven't even got on to Star Citizen.
No, no. Now I saw you playing earlier this week, but then the later we got into the week, you were not around very much. Was the
Lots of
gig
going
keeping
on.
you pulled in, or are you just out?
Lots been going on.
Just a lot going on. Okay, that's understandable. Well, anyway, it's good to be here. We're gonna try and
Just
get.
hang on with us for a moment, y'all. You know it's not as if we don't have a technical difficulty.
This is true. This is true. So
Sounds familiar. Sounds like another studio.
I know this sounds real familiar, right? Well, listen, we're going to tell you guys how this show is going to work. Friday Night Live is different from when we do Soul Citizens on Sunday. On Soul Citizens, you guys know you get a chance to listen to us. We talk about topics, but
Facts.
we
This
take
is what happens.
we take comments from you guys. Yeah.
This is what goes on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm having issues here. I'm good now. Thank you, Ops Chief. So this is the difference in the two shows, just so you'll know. On Sundays, you guys know we take on topics. We talk about stuff together as backers and followers of Soul Citizen. But tonight's a little different. This is going to be an opportunity for you all to talk to us, not just in chat. In fact, we really prefer that you actually come online and talk to us live. So think about how like a live radio show would be. So you get to talk to Kimmy directly. Kimmy gets to talk to you directly. I get to talk to you. We get to talk to you directly. And you get to be a part of the conversation. So we are going to kind of do a review, a week in review, and talk a little bit about what's happened over the past week. We'll show you some of the videos. Kimmy and I'll talk about it a little bit, then we'll let you jump in. If you look on our page, you'll see that there is a box now for Friday Night Live with a link. If you click on that link and if you go into our Discord, Gigi, the wonderful Gigi, is there waiting for you. And she's going to put you in the queue. She's going to put you in the queue, and then we'll bring you in live with us, and we will talk. So let's jump in, because there's a lot that's happened over this past week, and as Kimmy said, there's just been a lot going on. So why don't we start with the very first thing? Kimmy, I want to go back a week, because there's one thing that came up last week before everything went live, and that was the subject of Orison. And I know you're a big lore guy, you know background on stuff like that. I want to show everybody the white box that they showed us last week, because we weren't really expecting that.
It's
But
always had a little special place in my heart, right? But it comes with its own unique challenges. So as we've been working our way through Stanton, we've had to adapt and overcome to whichever visual challenge that location demanded. And I like to think that when we released New Babbage, we kind of improved in many different areas. And what I want to do is keep that momentum and apply it to Orison and take it further. So obviously Orison is a very open landing zone. It's all about that vista. So then there's kind of nowhere to hide. And what we want to do is we want to really think about the restrictions we add to the player, to the point where those restrictions are very minimal. So literally, we have a massive open vista landing zone where we want the player to explore. So lots of challenges, lots of creative challenges for us to solve. Also, as we said previously, when we originally thought about Orison, our idea of what a landing zone needs is a little bit different. So as you saw in someone like New Babbage, we introduced new elements like food stores, more complexity with bars, things like this. And with Orison, it's the same, but there's going to be more. There's going to be shipping locations, there's going to be personal storage locations. So what that landing zone needs is more intensive than previous. So with all of these things kind of considered.
okay, that was Orison. Kimmy, give me your thoughts about the fact that we saw white box. Did you think that they'd be at least at white box or beyond white box, or were you pretty satisfied with what you saw based on the amount of time that's passed?
Hmm. That's a good question, Griff. And I'm gonna go with at least, because it's gonna go back. I'm gonna bring up why it's at least. But yeah, they're just just getting the concept together,
Hmm.
and based on what that's all involved in Orison.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to do this in one swoop as far as getting it all in.
Hmm.
And when they say white box, be prepared that uh, in preparation to know that it's not going to come just like that. It's not going to happen just like that. It's going to take some time
Hmm.
based on the concepts and elements that all has to go into Orison. Uh, but first of all, I want to say that when they talk about Orison, it goes back to, I say this a lot. It's a love letter. This we see parts and concepts in Star Citizen that brings or hails back to a homage of the old classic sci-fi, whether it's the space worm from Dune and things of that nature. So when you see Orison, what do you think of? You're going to think of the old classic Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, the city of what? Bespin.
Yeah, Bespin.
Cloud
Yeah,
City.
yeah.
So definitely, that's
Yeah.
the love letter, and I love those little pieces and nuggets of sci-fi history that's in Star Citizen.
Hmm. I like what they did. You know what I mean? It looked nice.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that they used the two star lifters as like podiums or statues at that one building. I guess that maybe that's the
Yes.
headquarters for Crusaders,
Nice
maybe, which was kind of interesting. But then they still talked about this open landing thing, which kind of threw me a little bit. You know how the racetrack looks? You know, when we do the racing, the one that floats out the Cloud City. This kind of reminded me a little bit of that. So maybe there was some inspiration there, and like you said, there was definitely Cloud City inspiration. Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm just kind of curious as to see with this whole gas giant thing, how that's going to still, you know what I mean? How's it still going to function? I'm really curious to see how they're going to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting in that sense that you made a great point about the Hercules, the Star Lifter. Orison is going to be the basic manufacturing company. We're going to see for the first time an actual manufacturing company, planet side. And so, with that said, when we're talking about the Hercules, the Star Lifters, one of your ships, Griff, one of your ships,
And yours, because I'm sure you got one. I'm sure you got one. Yeah, I do. Oh, yeah.
No, man.
Yeah. No, really? I'm
No.
surprised. Really? Okay.
No, man.
Okay.
It's too much for me.
Okay.
I get lost in these kind of ships.
Okay.
Like GG.
You're more personal on a more single one man. I got you.
Compact.
I got you.
I
Okay.
gotta have it
Heard
compact.
that.
I gotta know where I'm at, man.
Okay. Fair enough.
I have problems in the mold getting around.
I got you.
know.
No problem. Understood.
But with that said, of it being a capital size ship, when you talk about the Hercules, you're going to have those accommodations around that thing. It has to fit, right? And then some. And so that's why it goes back to what you were saying. At least they're at least gray box.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
just getting it in. When you talk about the lore of Orison, back in the lore, they talked about how this was not just the manufacturer's for the Star Lifter, but it was also a destination of these gardens, these exotic and beautiful gardens,
Right.
part of in the landing zones too. So if you have that 890 jump, like Griff, you're going to be able to use that as a point to take tourists to see these gardens, and you can dock it, and then you're walking around, and then it's got to be huge. It's got to be huge.
Yeah, and that does explain the thing of them talk about the multiple landing areas, because they kept referring to that, and I was trying to figure it. So, no, thanks for that as a good point of reference. Good point of reference. You know, again, hey guys, once again, we're encouraging you. If you guys want to jump into the conversation, click on that link that's in the box there that says Friday Night Live. You will come into our Discord, and you will be live on the show with us. And if you want to throw your 2 cents in, your comments in, your wisdom in, or ask us a question, hey, that's what we're here for tonight. We're here to interact with you guys. We want to move the chat from the box and into the voice. So hopefully you guys will feel like jumping in with us. Okay, that's cool. Let's move on to the next one. This week we saw a new video that came out. Actually, there were a couple new videos, right? And one of them was this one I didn't expect to see called Fight or Fight or Flight or Flight and Fight. So let's take a look at that real quick.
We got hostiles inbound. Stay alert. I got 3 targets. Got eyes on.
On me, keep the pressure on.
Starboard bow. 3 targets. Got eyes on. On me. Keep the pressure 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 on.
Wow, there we go. Table of Horrors, thank you all for that raid. Happy to have you guys, folks who came over. Thanks for hanging out with us. And Tabby, thank you for the follow. We really, really appreciate it. Kimmy, boy, what a way to introduce. Whoa! Tabby, thank you for the subscription. We truly appreciate that. We truly appreciate that. Yeah, this is a way to bring in 310, and I got to hand this one over to Kimmy, because Kimmy, if there's anybody amongst our group who's into combat and fighting and dual sticks, he is the man. Were you impressed by this? Because I got to ask you about one ship in particular. I know why they put the Kar-2-Al in, but they put the Reliant in there. Did they do any work to make the Reliant a combat ship? Because I heard a lot of good stuff about the Kar-2-Al. What are you thinking about that?
Wow, Reliant. Oh, yeah, that's going to be interesting how they dial that in. But yeah, Kar-2-Al is definitely, it was one of those ships that I early backed on because of the concept of the 6 degrees of freedom and flight that it incorporated into space. Being able to be so agile, you can change your vector and such without having to suffer a lot of G-forces.
Yep.
But for some reason, it was just a placeholder when it was first introduced. And not only that, the weapon systems were very weak. And so it drove me to move on from the Kar-2-Al, but they went and recently rebalanced it, gave it more strength as far as weapon types. But then we've yet to see it really function in a way that we're going to see it in a combat situation. I think a lot of people are excited about that, and they're going to do some thorough testing on it. And with the flight mode model, or the flight mode, they're saying that this is only first iteration. So, you know, you're getting a lot of passionate feedback about it right now, but it's only first iteration. But I like the direction with what they're taking with the Kar-2-Al.
Okay.
Reliant, it can follow up. It can follow up later on because it's kind of a blend or hybrid of that technology.
Okay. We got Admiral Kasanagi. We're going to bring him into the studio with us. GG, I'm going to pull you down for 1 second while I bring him in, if that's okay. All right. There he is. Admiral, you there? Did we lose him?
Evening. How's it going?
Hey, good to hear you, man. Thanks for supporting and being with us every week, man. We appreciate it. What's on your mind?
Well, just the 3.10 out, I guess, right? How's everybody enjoying it?
I'll say this. I haven't had a lot of problems with it. I know some people have. I've had like 130K since it went live, but I haven't had issues. But I've had people saying that they've been still having issues with it. What about you, Admiral? Has it been smooth for you or blah?
Well, to be honest, I've been watching a lot of streamers and stuff like that, and I'm kind of one to let it settle a little bit. So I'm gonna give it like another week, hopefully another patch, and then I'll try it after that. I also like Star Marine, so I'm hoping that gets worked out a little bit better, because I kind of see that it's kind of going to showcase how TOW's going to work.
Yeah,
it's the same background.
Yeah, weren't they supposed to do some type of update to Star Marine as well before TOW? Did they say they were going to do something?
All I heard was they were going to increase the points you get by like double.
Okay, no, but I mean, I thought they were physically doing something to it to make it another, because they wanted to maybe, I guess you would say kind of update it a little bit, because I think they still want to be functional even when TOW is around. You know what I mean?
Oh, that'd be great. I mean, right now it's not too bad. I actually enjoy being able to test the weapons out. That's the best part, is to be able to test all the weapons out and then just refresh like 20 feet away. If you get killed, unlike you go to the PU, and if you go out, you're dead. It takes you half an hour to get back where you were.
Wow. Okay. Kimmy, what about you for 310? What's your feelings about it since it's gone live?
Well, to what Admiral said as far as the FPS, I did notice there's a lot more smoothness in just the frames itself. And I'm running an i7 7700K, and I really notice how smooth it is, and with all the lighting that took place, the updates. But I would say that as far as the FPS, we should expect TOW to come in and set the standard and get everything stabilized. And then you see that benefit will kind of come off from TOW into Space Marines or Star Marines. But I like what Admiral mentioned, how if you can partition those and where you can go in and do ops, like combat or squadron ops in Star Marine, whereas the TOW is going to take you into a campaign of like sort of like Call of Duty space that you're going through all the different environments, and you're going to run and practice through the different vehicles, but it'll be squad basis squad. But I think with the Space Marines, it has the potential to be more granular as far as like if you're in a guild or you're in your squad.
You're practicing there.
Ops to get better. Yes.
Yeah. Admiral, let me ask you a question. Have you tried out the 2 new guns? Well, everybody's been talking about the Lightning Bolt Corporation's gun, but there's also that SMG 50. Is it 54? I tried that thing out, man. I thought it was pretty cool. Have you had a chance to try it out yet?
No, I haven't tried it out yet. The only thing new I got is I did get the miner.
Okay.
I haven't tried it out yet. But,
Same here.
I'm looking forward to trying out the new weapons.
Gray Cat.
Yeah, the Rock.
Yeah, right, the Gray Cat.
Yeah. I was watching Captain Richard before this got started. He had about 12 guys on a moon, all in Rock Gray Cats, with one vehicle in the middle trying to destroy it, and it wouldn't blow it up. There were 12 lasers on it. So I think that whole thing about if somebody's in it, if there's a human, it won't kill. I guess it also won't destroy a vehicle either. But
I don't like that. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, why does that need to be a mechanic? So that, I mean, it's a laser.
You know why. Oh, I agree. I mean, I'm just saying, but you know why. People will be trolling people just to look for people and smoke them while they're standing, come up behind them. But I think they should keep it.
Prospector can.
That's true. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So to me, it's like if you could do it with a prospector, it shouldn't make too much of a difference with that vehicle. But it also make people be careful when they're working around their friends, too, so they don't fry their friends at the same time, right?
Yeah. And it opens the aspect of, the parasite ship or vehicle concept, where you can basically take that Rock Gray Cat and store it into another ship that's not too big. You can carry it with you, and so you have that option to mine without having to take the prospect. In other words, like you guys talked about, the fact that they were using lasers to defend or be aggressive. You can take a Cutlass Black, which is armed to the teeth, and you have that Rock vehicle inside of it, so you have that protection, or you can do a 2-man op. Someone pilots the Cutlass, and then someone gets in and do the mining on ground and be protected. So I like that aspect of gameplay. Mining. So something to think about.
I think it's a great little buggy. I mean, I have the Max. One of my ships that I have is the Max. You can probably put 3 in there and have a little operation going. And I think you need some type of ship to find them a little bit easier if they can search for those smaller rocks. I'm not sure if that's set up like that yet, but yeah, it's a great little ship.
Right, it is. Well, Admiral, you're welcome to stay with us, because since you introduced this next subject, maybe you can elaborate. We're going to look at the video for it. And again, folks, Admiral, he took the plunge. He jumped into our Discord. Now he's live on the show with us. If you want to come on live and ask a question, give a comment, tell us something you don't like, you do like, just jump into the Discord. We'll put you in the queue, and Admiral will graciously move on, I'm sure. But we're happy to have him here because he's a great supporter of us. So let's look at the next commercial, which is The Rock.
After eating the bear's breakfast, Goldilocks explored their house. She saw 3 chairs and wanted badly to rest her feet. But the first chair she tried was much too small. So she tried the second chair, and it was much too big. But when she tried the third chair, she found that it was just right.
Well, Admiral, since you brought the subject up and introduced it, before I move you out, because we've got Mr. Squarepeg waiting in line, why don't you tell us your thoughts about the commercial there? Did you like it? Did it inspire you to go out and buy it? Or was it like, another vehicle? I know you bought one, but I'm just kind of curious as to your feelings about the commercial.
I think it's a great commercial. I mean, I'm a miner. My whole thing I'm doing is mining. I don't know. I want to know how much the commercial actually cost. The ship is only $50. So I don't know.
It was a shorter commercial, so maybe it's relative to that, because they do make longer commercials for, like, the 890 was like a freaking 3-minute commercial, it felt like. But yeah, one thing we always give CIG compliments on is that whoever's doing their marketing for their commercials for selling ships does an outstanding job, at least to me. I don't think I've seen one commercial where I was kind of like, I mean, not in the sense of that it wasn't that I was interested, but I mean the production value of the commercials. They're usually pretty good.
Yeah, they're amazing commercials, and I'll leave it with that. And I appreciate your time. I'll let Mr. Squarepeg come on in.
Thank you, man. Thanks for stopping in. We really appreciate the support, especially for our premiere, man. Thanks again.
All right, you're very welcome. Have a great night.
Okie dokie.
Keep watching.
Alrighty. And we've got Mr. Squarepeg. Hey, visiting with us tonight. How you doing, bud?
Been good, yeah.
Good to have you, man. What's on your mind?
I'm actually pretty excited about the server meshing and the upcoming iCache stuff.
Yes.
That's when the real fun starts.
Yeah. It's nice that you mentioned that, because that's probably, there have been several hurdles that CIG has had to deal with over the years. If you remember, one of the first ones they told us was about being able to, move without loading screens, right? And then going into a moon, and there's the transition is smooth. But the iCache piece that you just mentioned, inventory caching and the server meshing, that's like the next great frontier for us with Star Citizen. What excites you about it? What is it you're looking forward to be able to do?
More players, absolutely more players in the same universe. Because that means hopefully reduce costs, because they don't have to run as many servers. So.
Yeah, Kimmy, how many people do you think they should jump to? We're at 50 now. What do you think the next jump would be to?
The safe.
Probably to 100 or 150, in my opinion. So.
Yeah.
What he said.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you guys are in agreement. Yeah. Just doubling it. I mean, doubling it in itself would be a big step, right? I know that we've heard Chris talk about, 500, 1,000, thousands even eventually. But you're absolutely right. The iCache and server meshing. And I have weird feelings about it. Kimmy and I talked about this before. One of the things that we thought they would do to kind of pick up the slack was maybe move Levski out in order to make more room when they bring Orison in. That would have been one of the ways. Yeah, because they've told us that Stanton is getting pretty full. They've actually been doing tech to bring things down but maintain the details, because they've pretty much packed everything they can until iCache and server meshing comes in. Now, they can do small things and add small things, but adding big worlds, we're going to start feeling the effects of it if we do. And I think that's one of the reasons why Kimmy mentioned he noticed the smoothness, because that was the first thing, Kimmy, you said to me when you went in. You said you noticed that it just felt different when you went into the game.
The frames are just silky. They're buttery. They're smooth. I mean, it's just even in some of the heavily populated areas, it's not as, what do you say, janky. The frames are dipping dramatically. They've kind of optimized some things to an extent, and especially when you're out on the orbiting space stations. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
it's silky smooth.
Yeah, Mr. Squarepeg, let me ask you this question. With all the things that they could be adding into the game right now, until we get someplace like Pyro, would be something that you'd like to see them. Like, what's the next thing you'd like to see come into the game? You think that would enhance it for everybody? You mentioned population. What would be something else?
Honestly, what's it called? Pyro, primarily.
Okay.
But I understand that server meshing and iCache would have to come online for that first.
Yeah, and it's, well, let me ask you this. Let's spin the question a little bit. What would you like to see happen in Stanton? If there was a new mechanic or something like, what would you like to see?
A large pirate faction.
Okay.
So.
You mean like an NPC, like NPC?
Yes.
Okay.
Because currently we're dealing with PvPers, like player player.
Mm-hmm.
In like, so let's give them something to do, so to speak. So they're not always going after traders, or they're always going after miners, stuff like that. Let's give them something to absolutely do.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to jump in here real quick. Square Peg, I got good news for you. If you go back to the lore, you got to understand that the Otoni Corporation, the Syndicate Corporation, is heavily populated into the Stanton system. And so, as far as the lore is concerned, be ready to start seeing some underlying criminal activities. The Otoni Corporation, they have one founding member. He's still alive, but the other two passed away. But they are well entrenched in Stanton. And there's another system that they're in as well. So you don't see the effects now, but when they get that lore into these systems, Stanton is one of those systems that's heavily populated by the Syndicate organization. So don't worry, you're going to get your wish.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. If I may ask, is this Syndicate heavily anti-alien or what?
Well, it's nothing said about that as far as them being anti-alien, but the thing is, they love they're into luxury. They consider themselves classy. They're unassuming. They'll do things undercover. They don't attract attention. But if their methods mean that they have to just cut your throat, so be it.
Sounds like a friendly bunch.
Who here? Does anyone here subscribe to Star Citizen Leaks at all? Unless you don't.
Yeah, we follow it. Yeah, at least I do. I won't speak for everybody else, but I follow them. Yeah.
Okay.
So, the reason why I'm super excited about NPC faction is because there is. Who remembers the those radio transmissions to Porto?
Oh yeah,
that's
definitely.
Not going away.
Yep,
that's going to still happen.
Yep.
Not going away at all.
That's going to happen.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's a nice tease, Mr. Square Pig. Nice tease. Ops Chief, thank you for the gifting.
07.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. He's always supporting us. Thank you so much. Stop giving your money away. Man. Stop. Save your money for some ships. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's.
Liberty Star Runner.
All right, Mr. Square Peg, you're here. We don't have anybody else. Listen, we want to encourage you guys to jump in. Mr. Square Peg has jumped in. Admiral Kusanagi has jumped in. You guys, hey, ask us questions. This is an open show for you guys to toss anything to us. J2, I know you want to come in here because you always got something to say, so I'll be looking for you to jump into the queue. There's a box down there on our screen that says Friday Night Live. Click on that link. It'll bring you to the queue, and we'll have you in. Mr. Square Peg, you want to hang around for a couple more seconds? I got something else to show.
Sure.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I'm going to present this question to Kimmy. And I can't take credit for this question because Ops Chief said it to me. I thought about half of it, but then he thought of the other half, and it just rang bells in my head. Did you guys notice in the video? I'm going to play the video one more time. Tell me if you noticed something in particular about this video.
After eating the bear's breakfast, Goldilocks explored their house. She saw 3 chairs and wanted badly to rest her feet. But the first chair she tried was much too small. So she tried the second chair, and it was much too big. But when she tried the third chair, she found that it was
What am I looking for? Like I'm
just
forgive me, by the way.
That's okay. Okay, now the Admiral says he saw a few things. Let me drop the bomb on you. We've been going to bases for how long? Right? For quite a while, right? On moons and planets, right?
Yeah.
That was not a research outpost. It was a house.
Homestead. Yeah.
Oh.
Not only was it a house.
Oh.
Not only was it a house, they had a kid. Now,
3 bears.
Chris is
Yeah.
notorious for not putting stuff in the game that is not going to show up in the game. So my question to you is, most of the time when we've thought about base building, we've always thought about it from the sense of an org or something like that. That was an individual house sitting somewhere by itself. So what do you guys think? Do you think this is a foreshadowing of you having your own little homestead? Like Kimmy said, the term to use is a homestead. Is this a foreshadowing of that? And is there a possibility of kids?
Well, Death of the Spaceman, when they get, you're talking about the physicalized objects, and then you're talking about true persistence. Then you're playing around with the aspect of Death of the Spaceman. Then you're talking about, okay, I'm talking to my kid. I'm saying nursery rhymes to my kid. I go out on a mission. I don't come back. Then all my inheritance and belongings goes to the kid, and basically they come of age. I guess some kind of mechanic says, okay, you're done. This is Death of the Spaceman. And that child grows up, and you create your character, and there you are. You're in that homestead, and you've inherited everything from your parent.
That's right. That's a part of the whole history, right, of our characters. Kusanagi, you sounded like you said, wow, when you realized that was a house. What did you think? I'm sorry, not Kusanagi. I'm sorry, Mr. Squarepeg. I'm sorry, I'm reading Kusanagi. I'm sorry, Mr. Squarepeg. What did you think?
I think you're right on the money with that. Yeah. I was honestly expecting Death of the Spaceman had gone away or something, but
No.
it doesn't look.
Yeah, there's going to be a variation of it, and they've said that even though it's been around, the death mechanic is still something. Obviously, Chris is going to have to work with it based upon what tech provides, but that's his foundation for it. And we do we do know that if nothing else, you are going to die in this game. There's no question about that at the very least. Now, how many times, whether it's you get an arm blown off, a limb hurts cybernetic, or your head gets blown off, we don't know yet. But death is going to be, and that, and you know this, right? Because I was an Eve player. And in Eve, because we could make clones, death was not a big deal. It was not a big deal. But in this game, like Kimmy said, not only is it that you die, but now your reputation has been affected. All the things that you've worked toward have now, you still have some of it, but it's shifted. So now I've got to be thinking about when I want to start a fight with somebody, or if I want to get in a fight with somebody, is it worth it? Is it worth the possibility of losing my life? Thank you, Ops Chief, again. Oh my God. Ops Chief, pretty soon you could have bought a rock by the time you get through buying subscriptions tonight. That's what I'm going to say to you in relation to that. But anyway, listen, if anybody else wants to jump in and ask questions, feel free, hit the Discord link. It'll bring you in and cue us in, and you can talk to us as well. Mr. Squarepeg, thank you. We appreciate you. I know you visited with us before. Good questions. And come back again, man. If you got some other questions or comments for us, drop in and throw them to us, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, man.
See you in the verse. Squarepeg.
He's a good guy.
This community, man. Makes this game so unique.
Alrighty, let's hit our next topic, which is going to be, am I going to show that? No, I'm not going to show that. Let's go to ISC, Kimmy. That'll be the next area we hit. Yeah, I know, Zelix, that was the next thing that I was going to do. I had the Pioneer commercial queued up, and I was like, should I do it? And I'm like, I don't know. Kimmy, should we do the Pioneer commercial, or should we just go ahead and go on to ISC?
We can show it. I mean, it's
I'm going to show it since we were talking about base building. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's hit it.
Yeah. It's homesteads, and they're getting those foundational blocks together. Yes. It's going to be a thing.
Let me turn the volume up on it because I know I didn't have the volume up.
This must be one of Griff's ships.
No, no, too much out of my pocket, brother.
Yeah, the Pioneer is definitely a game changer, literally. So is this just like the Elon Musk?
Such a familiar backdrop of our day-to-day life that it's easy to forget what they mean. That one. That little dot right there. That's Bremen. That little dot right there. This one over here. That's Saul. This one over here. Think about that. That's Saul. Just a Handful of these dots represents the breadth of human expansion. Another handful, and you've got Bannon, Jean, even Van Duel systems. That's everything we've ever known. Every piece of art, every life, ever, right there.
Kimmy, I got audio coming through from the speaker. Kimmy, I got audio coming through from the speaker.
And that means there's so much more to
Thanks,
find.
buddy.
Behind every one of those points of light is a story waiting to be discovered. Now, in our distant past, it was the province of governments to explore and understand space. The simple launch took resources and money beyond the capacity of even the largest companies. But then RSI introduced the Zeus.
The Admiral said, have you seen this before, Kimmy? I'm sure you have, right?
Allowing an unprecedented amount of knowledge to be discovered. When Nick Croshaw discovered the first jump point, the modified scanner array that allowed him to search.
Hey, Kimmy, the Admiral said, have you seen this before?
Expensive for the civilian
Yes.
market.
Okay.
Yes, many a times.
But once that technology was refined and open to the
doesn't
public,
get
what
old.
happened? That's right, an era of expansion that led us from this to this. And that's how it's always been. If you look at all the great eras of human history, whenever innovation has put technology in the hands of the people, it has heralded sweeping discoveries. Because power in the hands of many will always exceed the power of few. So while we can now discover new jump points and systems, there's still one hurdle that remains. That's what to do once you discover a new planet. Because right now, only the largest corporations can terraform and establish settlements. Easy. We haven't simplified terraforming yet. No, I'm here to announce something equally exciting. Albert Einstein, the man who redefined human understanding of the universe, he once said, "The person who follows the crowd will usually go no further than the crowd. The person who walks alone is likely to find himself in places
That would
no
be
one has
cool,
ever
Dirk.
seen before." An insightful sentiment meant to inspire thinkers and creators to push the boundaries of their understanding. It was, after all, said 1,000 years ago, before humanity had left our homeworld. So clearly he was speaking metaphorically. Today, as I just showed you, the unknown is out there, waiting to be discovered. For those that are looking for those places that no one has seen before, they are faced with a daunting challenge. What do you do when you get there? Up until now, it's been the province of governments and corporations to pave the way for sustained habitation. The power has been in the hands of the few. What if I offered you the ability to build your own settlement? To bring civilization to the most untamed of frontiers? A colony ship in the truest sense of the word. And I'm not talking about just transporting people, no. I'm talking about an all-in-one solution designed to build modular structures based on your needs. Capable of building a farm or a habitat, a trading post or a mining operation. I mean, that'd be crazy, right? Allow me to introduce the Pioneer.
Thank you for the follow, Director Gunner. There it is.
This is big.
It's a big ship, man.
Man. We'll break the flight model.
With that, let the new age of colonization begin.
Protected by your local UEE.
Okay, that was awe-inspiring. Okay, I have to say this. I don't own a Pioneer. I thought it was a very cool idea. I got you looping through again, Kimmy. I don't know why, because you weren't looping before. I got audio coming through.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay.
Am I good?
Yeah, I think yes. Perfect. Thank you. But one thing I do regret I missed out on. I didn't buy the land when they did the certificates. Remember? Did you get a plot, Kimmy, or did you pass on the plots?
For some reason, I'm not hearing you guys.
You're not hearing. All right, go ahead and whatever that. I'm not sure if you got where the volume's coming from. Go ahead and turn it on so you can hear though. Oh, wait a minute. That's not your fault. That's my fault. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, that was my apologies.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, we're good.
And chat, please forgive me for repeating myself so Kimmy can hear my question. I was saying, Kimmy, I didn't buy the Pioneer, but I hate that I didn't buy a plot of land when that was for sale. Did you buy any?
Both.
You didn't. You missed it too, huh?
$50.
Yeah, I know. Now it seems like such a stupid amount of money of not to have spent. You know what I mean? It's like $50. And I think the land is what? Is it 10 by 10, something like that kilometer, or 5 by 5 kilometers? It's a decent sized plot.
Yes.
If anybody remembers what the size is on those land plots, if anybody in there's got one, let us know. Again, guys, we want you to come in and talk to us. Use the Discord link. Jump into our Discord and come on the show and talk to us live. Tell us what you think about the Pioneer and about the building a homestead and housing, any of that stuff. And then there were two sizes, yes, standard. I remember there was one was for $100 and one was for $50, but I just don't remember what the sizes were. Oh yeah, 8 by 8 and 4 by 4. Thanks, Ops Chief. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump into our next subject. Let's get us caught up to this week a little bit more, and that's ISC from yesterday. We're going to talk a little bit about that. They opened up kind of giving us a whole overview of why the PTU is important. And they kind of reiterated the fact that even though most people think about the PTU, Kimmy, they think about it from a bug fixing aspect. But they said they also learn a whole lot of other stuff beyond bug fixing. What are some of the things that other things that they pick up when we're doing PTU?
Oh, definitely. It's about your ideas on how to make the gameplay better. Mm-hmm. Some things you may come across and you say, hey, wait a minute, I just thought of this. And this is your opportunity to interject, to add ideas that they can look at and possibly incorporate into the PTU. Mm-hmm. And so you have that opportunity as backers, as part of this process. This is what I love about the project, is that it's always a two-way street in regards to, can we make this better? And what can you all see that they may not be seeing? Or what's a great idea? Those gaming ideas, or you definitely want to submit those for the PTU. It's a good test bed for them to apply it and get it in now and try it out before it goes eventually live. Yeah, it's locked in.
Yep. I think sometimes gamers have gotten somewhat cynical because a lot of them don't think that if they post stuff, in Spectrum on the boards, that anybody's going to hear it. You know what I mean? But they've made it very clear that they spend their time paying attention to the forums. Yeah. They spend their time watching content creators on YouTube and on Twitch. They really are listening to ideas that the community has. And they've said that some of their ideas they've gotten have come from the community. So to your point, absolutely right. We have an opportunity, even though this is still Chris's vision, and I always have to tell people that regardless, you may not like certain things, but Chris said, I want you to play my game. You didn't say I want you to play your game, so, and I know we feel vested in it. Don't get me wrong. I think he is trying to please the community, but I also think he has a certain vision of what he wants to see. And you said this earlier, that we see glimpses. When we go back to Wing Commander, we see certain things. You and I joked around about the fact that Tony Zervik, they named Crusader after the very first game that Tony Zervik made back in the day, called Crusader. A lot of people don't know that they've taken parts of gaming history and brought it into today's game. So it's not like they just, somebody just said, hey, Crusader just sounds like a great name. No, they had some, some thought processes behind it.
No surrender, no remorse.
Oh, you remember? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Dude. Dude.
I never finished it, though.
Me either. Don't worry. I ran around that red guy and never found the end of that game.
Yeah, he had the armor.
Yes. Yes, yes.
These locked rooms and these cameras and everything.
Yes, yes. All
It
you
was
doing
bloody
is
too. It was
nostalgia,
bloody.
nostalgia, brother. That was some serious nostalgia. Well, anyway, let's see. Do we have anybody? Nobody's here. Come on. I know somebody wants to come in and talk to Kimmy. Look at this guy. He's dressed up. He's the smartest guy in our group. I know some of you guys want to pick his brain to talk about Star Citizen. So we'll go to ISC, Kim, and I'm sure that'll stimulate some thought for folks. So let's take a quick look at this week's ISC.
Let's start things off with another look at the continuing development of cargo decks.
Oh, this is
the
good
new
right
additions
here.
to space stations
good
scheduled
stuff
to
right
come
here.
online in the upcoming 311. And we've been able to follow the progress of these new station modules for some time thanks to staggered development. But if this is your first look, cargo decks are intended to provide a place for the storing and transfer of goods for both players and NPCs alike. You'll find them along major trade routes or Lagrange points and in geostationary orbit above major landing zones as they perform as both commercial harbors and warehouses for all major trade goods in the verse. As they continue to develop for 311 and beyond, they'll provide a range of cargo and trade-related missions, trade security missions, your chance to interact with and gain rank with the Cargo Guild, your chance to find rentals, and if you've ever worked in a warehouse or big box store before like I have, maybe a few secreted areas only employees on their breaks are supposed to know about. In FPS weapons, we've got a quick look at the AO3 ballistic sniper rifle, which just looks darn cool.
That looks
After
cool,
recent
dude.
work we covered earlier this quarter on the development of a balance triangle for all FPS weapons, we now know that Gemini weapons target accuracy and speed as their strong suits. They're more like marksman weapons than something super hard-hitting. But if you'd rather quantity of bullets over precision, these concepts for Bearing's new FS9 light machine gun has a stylish look that says, I have a whole lot of bullets. Don't give me a reason to give them to you. Is Bearing supposed to look this mean? Additionally, the wear and tear system enabled by the new hard surface shader is now beginning to be applied to existing weapons like this rocket launcher from Apocalypse Arms and this tried and true Gemini SMG, both using a workflow of curvature, wear, dirt, blend maps, and maskings to achieve their results. In Squadron 42 news, there's this. Now, I'm not going to tell you what it is, or who it's for, or how many poor UEE service folk it's killed, but whatever the story there, it sure looks mean. Work continues bringing the new runtime probes and day-night light cycles to existing locations throughout Stanton, like the Area 18 Plaza seen here. Now, instead of all the lights being on all the time like they used to be, lighting artists are now going through and crafting two distinct palettes for the plaza between day and night. Now, we don't think they're quite there just yet, but it was an effective sprint and the team's having a lot of fun developing these new looks. We've also been following along with the development of fire hazard and propagation for Squadron 42 and Star Citizen, and we're back for another hot update. As discussed, this is a two-part exploration of both voxel and entity-based solutions that will be blended together to enable dynamic propagation between the two. What you're seeing here is a system that tracks the temperature, fuel amount, fire, and smoke intensities to create an ignition using placeholder particles for the moment that can spawn directly from the surface of an item and then envelop it. Poor utility cart. Now, once that milestone was hit, the team then went to work actually blending the two solutions together for true entity to voxel propagation. You can see here our poor flaming cart, the entity, being dragged around this basic ship interior, igniting the surrounding voxels in flame. Now, to say that the number of teams here are excited about the gameplay possibilities of this would be an understatement. One day, fire extinguishers in the verse may be good for more than just getting a single kill in theaters of war. It happened. Look it up. You can also see here the tech has progressed to allow for the reverse voxel to entity propagation. And then, of course, entity to entity propagation. Up next for the team, working on various extinguishing methods, including chemical propellant, loss of atmosphere, and more. Members from our environment team focused on organics are currently exploring new ways to get increasingly realistic surface coverage of things like grass or meadows using our new paint tools, which seems simple until we remember that it has to be applied at a planetary scale while still reacting to smaller things like wind, vehicles, and players alike. What we're seeing here is a test for visual fidelity only, without the touch blending that would cause it to bend when you crawl through it like this player is. That touch blending pipeline is also under development, and you can bet we'll have updates when the time comes. In ship updates, we've got a new look at the Origin 100i, which has begun final art stage. You can see here the external cargo bay found in the 135 variant, the beginnings of a cockpit interior with its yoke and control scheme, folks getting started on the landing gear and testing the compression because these ships like to hang close to the ground, and then the beginnings of a materials pass on the exterior. We've also got this look at the gray box interior and initial materials pass for the Hercules Star Lifter from Crusader Industries. A couple disclaimers about what you're going to see here. This is a big ship with a lot of space left to fill. But these areas you see here are an indication of the general look and feel being explored for the interiors. And before you go and fire the janitor, these images were taken in the middle of a wear and tear materials pass. It probably won't be this dirty when it makes its way into the Star Citizen universe. Pico wouldn't allow it. For an interior that's a fair bit cleaner at the moment, here's a sneak peek inside the Crusader Industries Mercury Star Runner. Now, like the brochure says, if you need it there fast and unscathed, you can't do better than a Mercury. Highlights here include the rec room, scanning room, the foyer, gotta love a good foyer, and the cockpit.
All right. Fenrir, welcome. Glad to have you with us, man.
Hello.
Fenrir, hey, man.
So tell us, is anything in there that caught your eye, or is there something else you want to talk about in relation to Star Citizen?
Actually, I had a question for you guys.
Sure.
I saw a thread on Spectrum the other day asking about the alien languages, Banu and Jian, we have so far.
Mm-hmm.
And the thread was asking, hey, you know, we would really like a universal translator. So I'm wondering, do you guys think that's a good idea or not?
First iteration, no, I don't see it. Second iteration, possibly. And if we have that, it's got to be something rare, Fenrir, because last CitizenCon I was at, the 2018, 29, 18, 24, 18, is it?
Yep.
I ran into a gentleman, and he was highlighted on the show, the Star Citizen. This guy really went in and learned the language. I mean, literally learned the language, and he was signing off people's names in
Banu
language. And so, as Chris said, if they're gonna take the time and have the linguists come in and put all this together, there should be incentives for the people who actually go in and learn this language. So I say first iteration, let them get the benefits out of that, of learning it. And then I think later on, as more and more people get accustomed to it, or then they can see, okay, what's the balance here, right? It would be fair to say, what's the balance? How many people caught onto the lingo and how many have not? Then I would say introduce a translator from them. And maybe it can be siphoned through people who do know Banu language, and then it's filtered to the populace who really don't know the language. So I would say not right off the bat, but somewhere down the line, further down the line, have that type of translator built into a specialized mobiGlas or something. But yeah,
no, I was going to say, to your point, the other thing that, and you said this, Kimmy, they've invested money in getting a xenolinguist to come up with this language, and so to come up with something like a universal translator, which totally, to a certain degree, knocks out a lot of the work that this guy did, would be kind of futile. Now, here's the thing that I think, and to Kimmy's point, I think this is what will happen. And we saw this happen when they put out the letter. Remember the little letter that came out when they did the celebration thing, and it was about trading and everything from the Banu? You know, what they'll do is they'll probably come out with something that's very cryptic, almost like when you're learning Spanish and you just learn those basic words like, where's the bathroom? You know what I mean? Something that's real easy for people to get basic. But there is a winning aspect to learning the language. So that
Yes.
just like they said that there are certain levels of reputation will benefit you going certain places, or even if you have a certain type of ship, you, like, and I'm not to brag because Kimmy knows me. If you got an 890, there's some places you can go in 890 you can't go in any other ship, right? So the same thing with language. If you're able to speak those languages and you want to deal directly with the Banu in a very direct way, that may give you some advantages over other players. So I get why people may want to have it, but I also think that takes away a bit of the challenge. I think we've gotten a little lazy that we want space to be easy, you know, and we're making everything else hard, but we want to be able to roll into the Banu and just start talking to them. And there's a whole lore behind it, and the people miss all that if they go with something like a universal translator. So that's our thoughts on it. You know, what do you think?
If somebody's going to dedicate the time to learn that language,
Mhm.
it kind of is diminished by something like a universal translator. Their effort is diminished.
Yeah. And you know somebody's going to come up with a sheet, right? A vocabulary sheet. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to post something that helps us out as players as they figure it out there. You know, it is out there. It's already out there. The alphabet is, I know for sure. Yeah, well, go ahead, Fenrir. Were you going to say something else?
Well, no, I just kind of think that those people could even provide a service that they could charge other players for.
There you go. There you go.
They can say, hey, you know, I got this hot tip by listening to the Banu having a discussion in
Yeah.
the bar.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. And thinking about that even for data runners, if a data runner gets a certain amount of information that's in another language, but being able to find somebody like that to say, hey, I need this translated, you know, I got a transmission, something like that. Or that person's going to be invaluable in an org, right? I mean, you got that linguist in your org who knows how to break down. And we don't know what we're going to stumble across in the universe, right? If we're going to stumble across something that has some type of writings, that may lead us to something or tell us where something is. So you can see how language can play. It's not, and I think we've gotten so used to stuff just being, for lack of a better word, cosmetic. You know what I mean, Fenrir? Like we'll see letters placed on a wall in some language, but they don't mean anything, right? And Chris is trying to make everything that he puts in the universe meaningful in some way. And I think as players, we got to kind of re-gear our brains back to that because we've gotten a little lazy with gaming. You know, we've gotten used to things just kind of handed to us with very little effort. 12 hours and we're done. You know what I mean? We're not used we're not used to the old 80 hours, 120 hours in a game before I'm just getting through chapter 1 anymore, you know. So I'm looking forward to the challenge.
It's so much more fulfilling.
Yes.
It is.
Fulfilling.
Yes.
Once
Sense
you
of
have to figure
accomplishment
it out.
established.
Yes, absolutely. Let me ask you one more question. Go ahead. No, Kimmy, no, you go.
Real quick to what you guys said, that out there in the star map, there's a Banu planet that they basically say that you're not welcome there. Humans can't go there, but I think you can knock those walls down if you start speaking the language. So it's not to say never. So that's something to think about for you guys.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Fenrir, out of the stuff that we showed in ISC from this week, was there anything that caught your eye? Any one of those particular items? I know we hit the cargo deck.
I'm interested in what happened with the sprint report. I like what they're trying to do with the grass tech.
Yeah.
I know it's still a little ways away, but
yeah. When those planets,
I also saw on there, it says that it's from Pyro.
Now,
I don't know if that's just a test bed or if that's an actual, like, we just got a sneak peek kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
I'm like you. I think the planets look gorgeous now, but I've been looking to see that forest type of background, you know, where it's dense forestry, more variety of forestry, and we're getting it little by little. I was impressed by what I saw there. And I'm like, wow, if we start getting worlds that look like where the flora is actually flourishing in major ways, because we've got the rock formations and all that stuff, and I think we've been looking for caves next, but just to see that type of development in the environment, to me, is really exciting. Really, really exciting.
So speaking of caves and rocks, going back to that rock video, did you notice that the rock went down into
yes. Even on the RSI website for the intro, you see it driving into a cave. You're right. Hopefully that means it's coming, because we got to be able to use those vehicles. It'd be nice to be able to drive them inside of something and work, right?
What Todd Pappy mentioned.
Yes.
That they had like 100 115 caves ready to go in to the system, but because of the tech hurdles they needed to overcome, they could not place those. So can you imagine once they have those building blocks, then they're going to drop all these different types of caves and variations, and especially with the planet tech that's upgraded now, you're going to see these large expansive type of caves now. And so you got to take that kind of vehicle in there and get in, get out quick. And especially with creatures that's going to eventually happen or come on board or come online, I'm not going to be in no freaking cave walking around mining. I'm going to have that rock, man.
You're not doing no foot mining, Kimmy. Look at the bag around.
No, not with space creature. No.
Oh, no, that's a good point. Yeah, hopefully that laser beam will work on whatever comes out of that cave at you, right?
Yes. Fry my lunch and mine.
Escort.
Yes.
completely agree, Kimmy. There's absolutely no way.
Right. GG, we see it the same way. No
There's
operations at
literally
night.
Nothing that
Yeah.
will get me in a cave with critters. It's just not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Point blank.
Well, Fenrir, thanks for stopping in and the questions,
Thanks,
man. It was
Fenrir.
good stuff. And come back and visit with us again,
Absolutely.
man. Okay. Okay, we're going to try to keep the door open for one more guest tonight. We're going to try to close out. So I know there's somebody out there who wants to join us and ask us a question. Somebody popped in earlier, but then they ducked out. And I don't know if they had something to do. But we would love to hear from maybe one other person tonight before we wrap it up, because we do have one closing subject that we want to talk about. While we're waiting on somebody to join into the Discord, again, look for the Friday Night Live box there on our page. Click on that and it'll bring you right into the queue, and then we'll bring you into the studio. Kimmy, what out of those things that popped up in ISC, was there something that caught your eye? He mentioned about the environmental stuff with the grass. Was there something
Yes.
that caught your eye?
Fenrir made an excellent point on that.
Yeah, what
because
caught your eye?
Immediately talked to Avatar to me, but I'm not going to follow him on that because he nailed it. The fire, right? I mean,
yes.
it transcends. It migrates over to Squadron 42. It brings it over to the verse potential of having firefighters, firemen, or having to mitigate fire from where you're stationed, basically, right? But definitely you can see that in the Squadron 42 event, like a capital ship, and you're trying to keep fire at bay and keep the ship from blowing up and allowing people to escape. Basically, I could see that kind of gameplay coming into some of the missions, but yeah, fire itself. So it's going to be another mechanic too, having to go to homesteads if they catch fire or get attacked by missiles. Oh yeah, huge.
Yep. This lends itself to the conversation that we've had in the past, how Chris doesn't put things in the game that don't mean anything. You know what I mean? If it's in the game, it's going to have significance. And we've walked around and seen fire extinguishers on walls throughout the universe. I'm sure people run past them all the time, never think about them. Just like those med kit boxes. You know what I mean? They're on the wall all over in different places on your ships. And so, to your point, and this is the thing that I think about when we think about multi-crew ships, right? Because we always think about, well, there's the pilot, there's the gunner, right? We've started to leave some room for the engineer because we know somebody's got to repair and do fix work. But what happens, as you just said, when a fire breaks out, right? Who's responding to that? I mean, do you have enough people on your ship, or will you have to give up a gunner who has to stop manning a gun because the shield area, the generators are on fire? And if you take a chance on letting them burn, you may lose your shields. I mean, there's all these variables now that people are going to have to start thinking about. And you and I have talked about this before, about what does it take to operate a ship, right? It goes beyond just having that pilot and that gunner. But you've got to think about having the extra crew that are, and they may seem ancillary in the beginning until something goes wrong, right? Then all of a sudden you need him. We got Mr. Squarepeg back. He's got another question for us. He's not going to let us go tonight without getting his other question or his comment in. So welcome back, Squarepeg. Talk to us. Uh-oh, he's muted. Let's see. Can I unmute him? Yes, I can. Hold on. There we go.
Right.
Sorry, buddy. There you go.
Hey.
Talk.
I did realize something. At the 2019 con, Chris mentioned something near the end. That they won't have to worry about polygon count soon, and that just clicked with me on what that was. Okay.
You phased out a little bit for me. Chris mentioned what at the end of the show? I didn't hear it.
Oh, my bad. I may have been.
It's okay.
I'm pressed by push talk, but at the end of near the end of the show, at the 2019 CitizenCon, Chris mentioned that we won't have to worry about polygon counting, like the dev team won't.
Yeah, I remember him saying something like that. I didn't get what he meant though when he said that. That's interesting because polygon counts have been a real big thing for them. If you remember back in the day, they gave us a demonstration when they did the new constellation. It went from some crazy polygon count, down to some. I was blown away mostly because the ship had even more detail. So I don't know what freaking magic spells they're using in wizardry over there in CIG. Because I'm an old computer guy. I mean, I'm not up on today's computer stuff, but I know enough about programming to say that if you're adding more detail, especially stuff that looks three-dimensional, I'm just blown away by what they're able to do with software now. And and I can't help but think that some of this goes back to what you mentioned earlier about the server meshing and all these other things that they've got to develop, right?
Well, this is technically separate from the server meshing. This is rendering tech. But it just clicked with me what they're doing.
Yeah.
When you mentioned that. They're working on virtualized geometry, which is okay. I'm going to get a little bit nerdy here, so forgive me.
Go ahead.
Virtualized geometry is where you render billions of pixels at once, not pixels, but polygons at once at renderable frame rates.
It's going to be streamed in.
So how do I put? Not streamed in, no.
How's it work?
But use it like okay. So in upcoming video cards, like the not upcoming. It's out in the latest NVIDIA cards, like the 3000 series and the upcoming 3000 series, and the upcoming AMD cards. So the Navi cards.
Okay.
They have these things called geometry shaders, or is it? No, it's mesh shaders. My bad. What they do is they only render part of the model, if that makes sense. So. And that's the barest I can go down to the. I can go up a little higher if I want to. What it does is it makes it so that it only renders what it needs to.
Okay.
So yeah.
So if it's not needed, you don't see it, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
They're going to get a lot of gains from Vulkan too. They're going to incorporate that into the GPU utilization as well.
Yeah, no, Vulkan, but Vulkan's a big part of that, isn't it? I mean, they have to do Vulkan. Go to 12. Is that right?
They have to do Vulkan as well. Yes. That or he was musing about Unreal 5, but I don't think
they're going to go there. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not turning the ship around.
Yeah.
But when I meant by streaming, Square Peg, I apologize. It's basically they're going to use a part of cloud services to bring in some entities in the game. That's going to help a lot. When I meant by streaming, they're going to incorporate cloud services, but also they're going to do a version of geohashing, which they dub as star hashing, where they basically now they're going to chart out the entire persistent universe, and you'll be able to track and go where you need to, and then that's where you get the server meshing that be like a point system to be ready to bring in
whatever's needed
that they need to, exactly
when you come into the area.
And so that's where you're going to get that locked in persistence with the physicalized object. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. No, thanks for telling us about that, Square Peg. That I'm going to go back and look at that 2019 piece again because I want to see what exactly he was tying that into. But that's great.
And more cores.
Yeah, definitely.
The more cores.
My only concern is ray tracing. Because from what I understand, this requires ray tracing.
Yes.
But there are some clever hacks to lower the system requirements.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the balance for them because of them having to put out a game, even though we know the game ideally is for a fairly good running computer. They are trying to make sure that people who have moderate systems can still play the game and enjoy it. So that's the big task.
Absolutely.
You know, if it was all about just making it for power PCs, they could get a lot of stuff done. But the fact that it's got to be able to go from the moderate PC up to the most powerful is, I can't imagine how much work and bugs and everything else is tied into
They're going to scale things too.
Mm-hmm.
Their server's going to help scale things up for everyone. And,
definitely.
Absolutely.
We're in a good place. We're in a good place for upgrading for computer hardware. AMD is doing their thing. Intel, they're pushing each other, so we win.
Yep, that's true. All right, Square Peg, thanks again, man. We got one more guest who popped in, and it's a special guest. So thanks again, buddy. And again, thanks for supporting us, okay?
07 Square Peg. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
This is why I'm back. These
right.
guys right here is why I'm back.
Yeah. Now this guy here, I don't know who found him, but I guess we can talk to him.
Oh my God, I'm such a fan. I love you guys. You guys are so awesome.
Oh boy.
I have your autograph,
and you know what? I know somebody named Fastcart, but he wouldn't be in here.
The ambassador.
Yeah, he wouldn't be in here. So we'll say that this must be the FC must be the fake Fastcart that's in here right now. So do you have a question? Do you have a question, fake Fastcart?
Yeah, I was able to tune in for most of it. I missed part of it. What was the thing that people missed during the trailer that you were talking about? Did I have something else to ask after that? But what was the thing we missed in the Rock trailer?
Oh, there were a couple things that we talked about. One of them was that it was a homestead. That most of those buildings that we've seen so far have been labs or mining facilities, but that was an actual house. There was a husband in the back in the kitchen cooking. They had a living room, bedroom, all that stuff, right? So we were saying, was that a foreshadowing of when bases are built? Because when we've thought about the pioneer and base building, it's always been in relation to like orgs or things like that building. But will people be able to build their individual house on their land? And the second thing was that they showed a child in there as well, and so the question became, what does that mean in the game?
They've had children in trailers before. I think there was one in the
they did Invictus, right? That was right. Exactly. But Invictus, I kind of bought into it a little bit less than I did here, because this was a family setting. So I just kind of threw me. And they may not do kids. Who knows? Maybe you have some little NPC kid running around. I don't know. But I just thought it was interesting that they shifted this whole thing into a family setting where everything else has been pretty much, military or combat or something along those lines. So I thought it was pretty unique.
Well, my next thing is not so much a question; it's more of a statement. It's
sure.
Just, I got to give props to CID for putting in not just a family, but a family of color in there.
Yes, they were people of color too, which was also very cool. I mean, you know what? When we had people of color before, like the bartender on the 890. The typical stuff, that we were always doing, but. But it was nice to see.
Like a long time ago, when the people to planet, there was the guy, person of color.
Yes.
I mean, seeing a family of color, in a positive aspect, and just like a loving family, we don't see that in games too often. So I wanted to give CID props to that.
Well,
and I'll say it,
yeah, and follow it to Gene Roddenberry, who always felt that there should be diversity, in space, right? And we've seen that in a lot of the movies that come out. It is nice to see it themed out. The other thing that I thought was nice was that they used the mother who was doing the mining versus the father.
Yes, she's
which
the
was
breadwinner.
Interesting too.
She was the breadwinner. That's a real trend, guys. That's reality.
Well,
the women. Newsflash: women are breadwinners out here today.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and it says a lot to me that didn't occur to me, because it seems so natural to me that a woman could be a breadwinner just as much as a man can be. So I didn't pick up on that. But you're right.
Well, Kimmy took it in the breadwinner standpoint. I was just saying the fact that it would have been so easy to gravitate toward the guy being the one out working and the mom was reading the story. But they made it so that the mom filled both roles. She was still the mother, but she was also very capable in the sense of working and doing whatever would need to be done for their homestead. So I just thought it was kind of cool that this whole thing centered around her. And the child was another factor too, because they opened with her holding the child, and then it closed out with the child in bed. So I'm really curious. Again, Chris doesn't put stuff in the game that he doesn't somewhere down the line see as part of his vision and being a part of the game. So it'll be interesting to see if we already know we're going to probably have some type of homestead, but we just never saw it pictured out. So I really dig that a lot. So anyway, that's been basically it. Kimmy, let's bring out the surprise, because I told you there was one more thing that we had to show today. And I want to get your feedback. If anybody wants to jump in to give their 2 cents on this, we will take one more guest, and here it is. This is the thing that I want to ask you guys about. Were you excited about this? Pico the Penguin, who went on sale this week for $30 US. Yeah.
It's the cutest thing in the world, and I have to have it. There is no way that I do not
gotta buy it.
the Penguin. When I saw him, I sat up in my chair and literally went,
I know. Yeah, Ops Chief, I tried to do it too, and they're back ordered. I couldn't believe they were sold out. I was like, unbelievable. They are sold out. Yes, Kibby, they are sold out. They're back ordered. You can order one on the site. It says on back order as soon as you go there. I'm like, people cleaned them out. People cleaned them out on the first day.
Back order from the get-go, so CIG could have gotten an idea of how many to make.
Well, maybe that's the case. I wasn't there when the sale started. All I know is when you went there, it said back order. So there you go.
Yeah, like I think I was there for like within 6 hours or maybe 3 hours, and it was back ordered then. So
okay,
they just want to get an idea.
Phalanx says bingo fast cart, so he's probably thinking that's maybe what it is. It would be the first time they've done that, but I guarantee you that thing is popular because people are going to grab it, and I'll tell you why people will grab it. Not because it's the cutest thing in the world or anything else like that. They'll grab it because it's the first one. Cute. But it's not that, but they'll grab it because it's the first one. It's the first thing that they've put out. And you guys know how CIG is. They'll do a first run on something and you never see it again. So people will grab it because it'll be a collectible to say that they have it. And it is cute. Don't get me wrong. The thing is cute.
Because it needs to sit on my desk and look at me forever.
That would be cool. Yeah, I have been amazed at how many people have been taking pictures of this thing sitting in their co-pilot seat and in their... throughout the game.
It's the new Big Benny.
Dude, I saw
Big Bennies.
Kimmy, I saw a dude skiing down the mountain with this sucker. He sat it down with him and they both went down the mountain. I couldn't believe it. They were on freaking Microtech. Wait a minute. Then he couldn't catch it. The thing kept going. He was chasing after it to get it. But $30, guys. So yeah, if you guys want to get one, put your order in for Pico. Pico seems to be popular, so there you go. You gonna buy one, Kimmy? In game, right? The souvenir shop at New Babbage. That's where me and you will both be at the souvenir shop at New Babbage, brother. I'll be getting the virtual one. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Me too. I'm getting one in game. The real one is something, but yeah.
You make me tired.
And let me say this: when I saw sitting on Disco Lando's shoulder, I was like, "Oh man, he's gonna make me want to get one." I'm holding on to my wallet for this one.
Yeah,
barely holding on to my wallet.
Yeah. Well,
one thing I refuse to hold on to my wallet for, everybody else hanging on to their wallet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Because you don't spend no money. That's right. Because you don't spend no money on Star Citizen. So this is something finally has popped up.
For the Pico, yeah.
Something has finally popped up that Gigi's gonna spend some money on, and someone I don't know who it was. Someone said this in chat. Please forgive me, whoever it was. If you want to repeat it, that's fine. But someone said it was also cool to see Disco singing at the end of the stream.
That was crazy.
So he actually did, which was cool. It was cool, absolutely. So anyway, we're going to after dealing with Pico, we're going to bow out. After that, I think that's a good way to close out this week's show. It is almost midnight our time, 1 a.m. for Kimmy. Kimmy, thank you so much I know it's late for you. He's an hour ahead of me, but as always, man, you always bring great stuff to the show. Gigi is our moderator tonight. She was helping out, keeping us in line with who was next in the queue. Fast Cart popped in, as always, to be the surprise guest tonight. And of course, everybody who came in tonight, Admiral Kusanagi, Mr. Square Peg, Fenrir, thank you guys for stopping in. Ops Chief, thank you for the subscriptions. Standard, everybody who helped us kick off our premiere night on Friday Night Live. We're going to be trying this for a few more weeks, gang. If the show does well, we'll continue it. Tell your friends about it Friday night. If there's nothing to do, you want to hang out with us and come in and talk to us. It'll be somebody else next week. I don't know who, but we will love to talk to you guys one-on-one. And don't forget this Sunday, Soul Citizens, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Kimmy's going to be back on. We're covering CitizenCon 2017. We're 2 years away, gang, 3 years away. We're getting closer and closer to 2020. And there's some really big stuff in this particular show with Hurston that you guys want to make sure you're there for. So this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, we'll look forward to seeing you guys. And thanks for hanging out. Kimmy, any last words for anybody? Oh, tell them when they can
Tech
see
is
you.
coming.
Tell people when they can see you and where they can see you.
Well, definitely, you guys. You can catch me on Kimmy65. Just as my name is there, uppercase Kimmy65. Look for notifications on Twitter. You can get me there. But I'll pop in now and then and do some things with lore or the star map and just some gameplay.
And his link is
just
in the
have it
page
relaxed.
on the page too. By the way, everybody's link is down there. So if you don't know Kimmy's link, it's right down there. You can get it for him. Okay, Fast Cart. Any last words?
Yeah, I'm such a big fan. Can I really? Can I get that autograph?
I don't even know why. I don't even know why I asked him. GG. Yeah, GG. Anything you want to say?
Just thanks for hanging out with us this first go around, you guys. We really enjoyed having you guys here. You guys are really fun. We got a lot of awesome questions, and we're hoping that you guys will continue coming back.
Absolutely. Dirk, have a good night. Everall, thank you so much for that. You guys have a good night. Have a good weekend. Hopefully we'll see you Sunday. Take care. Love, peace, and soul. Take care of yourself, gang. See you later.